So
I want 2.5% now of your 2.5%.
Yeah.
We're all getting percentage if you get this
I
stuff.
don't think he's gonna get it.
He's gonna get it. Hello, and welcome back, everyone. This is the Price to Sell podcast, powered by Neighborhood Creative. I'm your host, Matthew Campoli, and today we have a very special one, Miss Tahani Aburaneh.
Yay!
I get that right?
Yes, you did.
I nailed it.
Yay.
I nailed it. Shout out to Ramsey, and sorry for mispronouncing your last name last time. But you are a real estate mogul, self-made multi-millionaire, and what a story you have. So it's super exciting to have you on today.
Thank you, Matt, for inviting me.
You're very welcome. So if you want to give like a little brief bio as to the areas you service, because you are an agent, broker of record.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then I really want to get into your story.
Yes, absolutely. So I service the Cambridge, Kitchener-Waterloo area, a broker of record since 2009, but I've been a realtor for the last 27 years. I was with Remax actually for about maybe 12 years of those. So that's my area. That's the only area that I sell. I invest, and I also develop land and build in just that area.
Which is really cool. And that's one of the most popular investment areas at the moment.
Oh, it's hottest markets ever. Yes.
Amazing. So I'm coming to you when I'm ready.
Yes.
So I really want to get into your story. I've seen articles on you, from Refugee to real estate mogul, self-made millionaire. Like, that's huge in itself, just the title alone.
Yes.
So I really want to get into your story.
So
where it all started for you.
The beginning.
Yes.
So I was born in a refugee camp in Jordan, Amman. And at age 15, I was actually in grade 9 coming home from a normal school day to find out that there was a party at my house, and to realize that it was actually my wedding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly.
How old are you?
15.
Oh, wow. I can't even imagine that.
Yeah. So it was really difficult, not only as a 15-year-old to be married, but also realizing that I have to go to a place called Canada. And have to learn the language and be a wife and still go to school and all of that. So it was extreme time of transformation, so to speak. It was really hard. It was not easy. And adaptability and flexibility is the way to kind of get through any situation, no matter what situation you're in. And no matter, some people, they say, Tahani, but I don't know if I can actually relate to your story being born in a refugee camp. Well, you don't have to be born in a refugee. There's a lot of people each one of us have a story. So it doesn't matter where you're starting from. The reason why I share my story is to let people know that they can actually change and transform their own lives to wherever they want to go and be.
Yes. So that's amazing. So you came here at such a young age, thrown into a country and a language you weren't even familiar with.
Yes, no English at the time.
So what was like the driving force? What kind of sparked the entrepreneur in you?
I think I did not realize, but I must have been a born entrepreneur. Even when I was in that refugee camp, I used to be, as a little girl, to bake, sweets or think of ideas. I would, like, even games, and I would teach them to my brothers. God blessed me with 6 younger brothers, and I would teach it to them, or I would make the sweets and I would give it to them, and I would tell them to go sell it on the streets because I could not go sell it as a girl.
Yeah.
And then when they brought the profits, then I would take the cost of whatever it cost me to make those sweets, and then we would split the profits. So I guess you could say that for me it was a natural thing that I was born with, and I just kept at it, and having or not being able to speak English. When I landed into Canada, I was almost forced to become an entrepreneur even more so, and rely on myself, on my ability to create and to make something for my life.
Yes. And I actually read in the article something that stuck out to me and I loved, was something that your father said to you about you could do whatever you put your mind to.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, so that is one of my life mottos, because as a young girl, my dad kept telling me that you can do whatever you want to, Tahani. Because even as I cried to him saying, I don't know if I can go to Canada, I don't know if I can do this, I don't know if I can speak English, I don't know if I... And he kept reminding me that I can do whatever I want if I put my mind into it. And that stuck with me as a little girl, and I took it on even as later on in my years. And every time I come across I get stuck or I stumbled, against like a problem or an issue, then I remember, oh yeah, I can do whatever I'm capable of, doing whatever I can in the situation.
Yeah, I love that, because that is a secret. And
for
it's
everyone.
really
That's
that
for
simple.
Everyone.
Yeah,
yes,
it's really that simple.
It's that simple, yes.
So
I'd
love to hear that.
Yeah.
So so obviously with that mindset, you can do whatever you want, but so why real estate?
It's not that I didn't even know anything about real estate, to be honest with you. I mean, you can only imagine being born in a refugee camp.
Yeah.
I didn't sell tents over there or anything like that. But coming to Canada, I was trying, as the entrepreneur, within me, I was trying to help my brother open a dollar store. And across from the dollar store, there was a brokerage.
Okay.
And the broker of record would come to buy like coffee, cigarettes, water, and then he would see me interact with people, and he would say, Tahani should get into real estate. Tahani should get into real estate. Tahani should get into real estate. Then finally, I decided that I was going to get into real estate, and that's how it was somebody else seeing that I'm able to communicate with others, because
Yes.
when you think about realtors, the most important thing is really the communication with
Definitely.
other people, right? And finding the connection and finding that trust that someone
Yes.
can says, you know what, I want to work with you.
Exactly, which is everything. Just being personable
Yeah.
and able
yes.
to hold a conversation, not being scared to put yourself out there.
Yes.
Just talk to more people.
Yes. Yes. And being also, I'm going to add to that, is that being honest and truthful. And if you know something, you say, I know it. And if you don't, say, I'm sorry, I don't. And let me, get back to you. I'll find all the answers and I'll get back to you. And that's how I started actually investing in real estate, because I just went through a divorce after 22 years of marriage. And I knew I had to do whatever it takes to provide for my 2 kids. And I start going out and asking people, do you want to buy or, sell a house? Do you want to sell a house? Do you want to buy a house? And at the time, I came across a friend of mine that I've met actually at a class in high school, English as a second language. His name is Ash. And I said, Ash, are you looking to sell your house? And he's like, no, but I'm looking to buy. But what I want is, what he was describing is an investment and a flip. And at the time, I did not realize what that was. And I'm like, okay, well, you tell me what you want and let me go out and find it for you. And I did. And after we found him the house, he closed. 3.5 months later, he sold it with a $48,000 profit.
Wow.
And that's when the light went on. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this? Real estate investing? I want to learn more about it. I want to understand it. And I became obsessed in knowing everything I need to know about real estate investing. And that's how the journey started with that.
I love that.
Thank you.
I want to point out, you just said something about, if you don't know something, don't be afraid to say, I'll get back to you.
Mm-hmm.
Super powerful, because a lot of people think that if they say that, people might discredit them, but that actually goes much
The
further.
opposite,
Yes. So take notes.
Yeah, take notes, absolutely.
So as a expert in both real estate on the sales side, as a broker owner, and the investing side, majority of our audience is a lot of realtors starting out, and then we have people who are interested on the investing side. So I definitely want to focus on these two. Mm-hmm. We'll start with the investing.
Yes.
So you teach it, coach it, do it yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We heard Ramsey's success story on our earlier episode. That's awesome.
Very proud of him.
So if you were to, how old are you when you started investing?
Oh, so I went through the divorce at age 37. So you can only imagine, I started this whole journey at 37 with nothing in my pocket.
Wow.
Yes. So whoever you are listening to this and you think, oh, I'm too old, or I'm this, or I'm that, don't. All of those are just excuses. Let me put it this way, Start no matter what age, no matter where you're at right now, you can really start somewhere and then take it to the next level.
So if you were to speak to younger Tahani, how would you start your investing career?
This is a very, very good question. If I were to go back again and do this all over again, First of all, you just have to be. There's two things I can answer. I can answer it with the strategy in terms of real estate. What would you do? But then I would also say that no matter where you're at right now, just be kind to yourself. Like, don't be so hard on yourself, because we are our own worst enemy. We're the hardest on ourselves. Like, I'm sure that you're harder on yourself than your parents, than anyone else around you. So just be kind, be gentle, and just at least get up and start somewhere. Start with something, like, don't look at Mountain Everest and say, I'm gonna get to the top. Just think about, first base. Then once you're there, you go second base, and that's how you kind of keep growing and keep going, moving up. In terms of strategy, no matter where you're at, but especially for young people like you, Matt, I would definitely start with buy and hold. Like, we talked a bit earlier on the phone call, and you're saying, I'm not quite sure if I should do a flip or maybe, what strategy to start. And then there is a lot of strategies that you can start with. But right now, because you are coming into your money-making years, which is your 20s, 30s, and possibly even 40s, those where you make the most as a young person, I would say that concentrate on your business, but invest in something that is a buy and a hold, and just let that kind of ride, with the market, because you can make money both ways. But when you're investing, I wish I would have done that earlier on, and that is buy a property that has an upside, and that is you could maybe service the land and sell it. Maybe you can add a second suite, and right now with tiny houses you can maybe add a third suite. So have always a property that can actually create more income if you choose to put more money and more time into it. So don't just buy a single detached that you can't even add a basement suite or any of that stuff. So add something that in the future you can add more to it.
Yes. And I feel like, and we talked about this earlier, a lot of people just get scared of the pricing and they say, I'll never be able to afford, what would you say to someone who maybe is out there who's kicking themselves and has no hope that they can even enter the market?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. I would say a couple of things. First of all, I want to remind them that even though the prices are higher, the rent is also higher. So there is always, you can find a place that can actually cash flow, so to speak. It's going to be harder, maybe in bigger cities like Toronto, Vancouver, but you can go outside the city to buy some of these, like even, Vaughan. I mean, Vaughan is also up and coming where you're from, and this is a great maybe an option. It's always rent versus price. Second of all, if you only have $100,000 and that's not enough to buy a $1 million home, and I would say right now co-investing is a huge thing.
Yes, I agreed.
So maybe get together with 2, 3, maybe 4 of your best friends, cousins, brothers, whatever you people that you trust, and maybe your first home. Just get in the market. Just get one property with others, even though you're only a third or a fourth of the pie is yours, but at least your 100,000 is going to end up being 150 in a year, or maybe 200. Like my daughter practically bought at the beginning of this year. She ended up closing like end of February. By end of March into like April, her property, the same exact house down the road, sold for $250,000 more. So if she wouldn't have bought that house, she wouldn't have been able to make that appreciation. So get in the market and start co-invest with other people that together you can make something. Right? Co-investing and co-living right now are one of the 2 hottest strategies.
Yes. And by co-living, what do you mean by co-living?
That if you can't really afford to buy, like say a property downtown Toronto or a condo downtown Toronto, buy it with another friend of yours. So 2 people making maybe $60,000 each, you both can own a condo, and then have you sell it, they make 100,000, and then it's 50 more for each.
Exactly.
It's like, again, we're talking about climbing slowly rather than everybody wants to get there at once. I remember speaking at conferences, Matt, usually the guy that says, oh, you can become a millionaire and you can do it overnight with no money down and with nothing.
Love those
Usually
ones.
that room has the longest, like lineup of people, because people, they believe, or they in their head, they want to believe that they actually don't need to do anything. They don't need to have any money, but yet they can. No, everything requires, some effort. You need to hustle. I don't mean like as in hustle, as in like, but at least you have to put some effort into what you want and start somewhere and climb up slowly, surely, so that's how it goes.
I think those are huge ways to leverage and to get in. That's how I started too, with partners.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because, you look at it, okay, if this is going to cost me 20% down to invest in this, that's my whole bank account.
Yes.
Or I can split it in half, keep some money for myself, live comfortably still, but at least have that half grow.
Amazing.
And then you leverage and you keep leveraging. So yes, I think that's the best way to start.
Yes.
And I could not agree more.
Yes, that's awesome.
What would be your favorite type of investment?
Honestly,
even now,
my favorite.
No, like skill level, like all that aside.
It's exactly what I shared with everyone a little while ago, is that I'm always looking for an upside in any of the properties that I buy. So servicing, or adding a third, because right now in Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo, you can add a tiny house, which is like a single detached, unit that's outside. Like you could do the duplex in the house and another third one on the side. So it's something that you can actually create more cash flow, because the prices are getting higher, so that you can create lots of cash flow, but at the same time down, the road, even if you don't want to create that third unit, when you sell it, someone else might want to do that. So there is always more, the value is up, so there is more demand for those properties.
Amazing. And you talk so highly of Kitchener-Waterloo area. I've have a lot of clients interested in that area too. Let's talk about it a little bit, just like what's going on there, what people can expect, why it's such a good area to invest in, especially for
for investors,
all types of investments.
Yes. So like we talk, or I teach, when I teach about real estate fundamentals, like each area should have some fundamentals before you go in and buy. I mean, you can buy anywhere if you want, and an appreciation will happen. But if you want your money to work faster and harder for you, then you have to be very I would say purposeful in picking the areas. And the reason why the Cambridge Kitchener Waterloo area is doing very well, because the fundamentals there are really amazing. Like there is, we had Blackberry, of course, a while ago, and it was huge, but even when that went down, there was other things that supported that area. So you've got the Lexus Toyota plant over there. Now you have Google. So there is IT, there is car manufacturer, there is all kinds of things that can support that economy. So if one sector goes down, like think of it as a table, you have 4 legs. If one leg goes down, then there is others that can support it. So that's why that area is so strong. And right now there is huge highway expansions, and that's what I want you to start looking, even in your area, no matter where you are listening to this podcast. Start looking for the signs. When you're driving and you're seeing highway expansions, that tells you something. That tells you a story that the city planning department's already thinking down the road, and they're already thinking that this area is going to grow, which means that there's going to be more demand and more people coming to this area. So that's where you would invest. And also, this is another tip that I would say, that a lot of my friends invest in condos, and I have nothing against investing in condos, and I know condos, they go up in prices and all of that, but investing in, if you're able, because I know pricing determines what you can or can't do, but if you're able to invest in a townhouse or a semi or a single detached, that would be way better for you, because condos will go up, but the single family home will go up even not much faster and much more.
And you lose the maintenance fees, you lose a lot of carrying costs, which allow you to cash flow.
Yes.
My first one was down here, a condo. And I went after the pretty item, but exactly what you said about the fundamentals, I could have that money work much harder for me. in other areas,
Yeah.
not as fancy.
Yeah, and
So-
if you were to buy in Vaughan, for example,
Yeah.
an old 50-year-old, like say, bungalow
Yep.
at the time, maybe you would have paid, maybe, I don't know, paid the same amount of money, but then that house right now is way higher in price than the condo here that you bought at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and I want to now dig into the real estate side, especially and focus on you found your niche
Yes.
with working with investors,
Yes.
right? So how can an agent out there who maybe wants to break into that market and really focus down on investment and investors,
Yes.
how can they break into that niche? Like, what advice would you give to them?
Yes, that's awesome. First of all, if you are not a realtor or if you are just an investor and you want to work with a realtor, definitely you need to work with someone that has already invested. If I want you to train me, I want to know that you've trained yourself and you've done something with training so that you can train me. Because now I see that there is a lot of realtors, they say they're into real estate investing, yet they don't own real estate investments. So at the very most, if you're a realtor, I would encourage you to go out and find a property for you if you don't have any, or a second if you already have a home, so that you can get to learn this in and out,
Yes.
and then you can pass it on to others. You know, that's
Yes.
how it all started. So for me, it was again coincidental that I was able to sell to Ash, and then because I wanted to attract more, I started attracting more and more investors to the point where I got to write a book alongside Wiley and Sons, a very large business publisher in North America. They're actually in New York. And when I wrote that book, I wrote it from a real estate investor trying to find a savvy investor realtor to work with.
Okay.
What are the questions that the investor would want to ask the realtor before they start working with them? But I also had think of it as a coin, the other side of the coin, and that is I was telling realtors, and I was actually showing realtors how when you're meeting with an investor, depending on the type of investor you're meeting with, are the questions and the mindset that you need to the language, I would say also, that
Yes.
you need to speak to them. Because if you come to me and you only have 1 or 2 properties, I'm going to ask you different type of questions that if you come to me and you have a portfolio
Yeah.
of 49 houses or 100 houses, and right now you want to get into the next level of your investing. So that's why it's so important to understand the investor language. So that book became a best-selling book.
Amazing,
And
congrats.
Thank you. And when that was published, RIM, the real estate magazine for realtors,
Yeah.
published an article about me, and that's when I had realtors from all across Canada asking me questions. Tahani, how do you work with real estate investors? And that's when I founded the Savvy Investor Agent Certification course, where practically I gave them all of my, system and how I work with real estate investors so that they can do the same thing as well. And just answering your question again, going back, is that I always start with yourself. You've got to start with yourself. And once you understand a little bit of that mindset, then the sky is the limit in terms of who the investors. It's almost like, what do they teach you, as a realtor, is always like you need to kind of start finding people to work with. But if you learn how to invest in real estate and you do well at it, then all of a sudden your cousin becomes an investor. They want to do what you do. Your friends want to be investors.
Yes.
They want to do what you do.
Yes.
So you become the magnet. Instead of you
Very
going
cool.
out to find, these clients, then almost like everybody around you, they want to come to you and say, can you help me? Oh my gosh, how did you make $100,000 on your last flip? I want to be your partner. I want to do
Yes.
this with you. And then you become the magnet. So it's like you solve your problems around real estate, as a realtor, and at the same time you help and you build wealth for you and others, and it's so fulfilling. It's so incredible to see people are so happy and to know that you make a difference in other people's lives.
Yeah, that's so true. I'm in my 3rd year, so prior to COVID and everything, and the regulations downtown for Airbnb.
Yeah.
My condo I bought was the Airbnb, so I showcased it. I went through the motions. I learned. I made my mistakes, but everyone knew me as the Airbnb guy. So I had all this attraction of people saying, Matt, I want to do that now. Matt, I want to do that now. So I had all these clients. I started putting through their buildings, setting them up with the same process.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is huge. That, guys, make note of that.
Yeah, you see that? Yeah.
What is your book
And
called?
that's marketing 101, by the way, you know?
It's true.
You have to create enough value for others to come to you rather than you going, oh, you know, are you buying real estate or whatever? You know, it's different. It's a different type of attraction, you know,
Yes.
and appreciation for what you do.
Yeah, I call it the attraction agent.
Yeah, there we go. I love that.
Yes.
I love that. Yes, the attraction agent.
So what is your book called?
Real Estate Riches.
Real Estate Riches.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it's again by Tahani Aburaneh.
On Amazon?
On Amazon, yes, Amazon.
Amazing.
And everywhere, actually, everywhere in all bookstores, everywhere.
And I think you guys should definitely pick that up because the questions you have laid out on there.
Yes.
I haven't read it yet. I will definitely get
Yes.
it.
Yes,
But
thank
I
you.
feel like people get a lot of value from
Thank you.
all those questions.
Thank you, yes.
So
Yeah, it's actually, there's also in there, if you buy the book and you show us a receipt, you can get even more bonuses. And one of the bonuses that you would get is, what do you ask? As a real estate investor, you know what you know and you don't know what you don't know, right? So when you're starting out, you don't even know what to ask because you still haven't done it and you don't know what are some of the questions to ask the realtor or maybe even the mortgage broker or maybe even a lawyer. I actually interviewed a lawyer, Shale Rotmans. I don't know if you know who this lawyer is. Amazing guy. And he says in the years of being in business, he hardly had anyone asking a lawyer some questions before working with them because they assume that lawyers, you know kind of like better because they're lawyers, right? But no, you have to be able to know what to ask and ask the right questions so that you can get the right answers. So there is the 7 must ask questions of your lawyer, mortgage broker, realtor, contractor, insurance company, and so on and so forth.
give us an example. One major question.
I would say that the most important question of them all is that, are you a real estate investor yourself? Whether it's a lawyer, it's an accountant, it's a mortgage broker, it's
Yes.
a realtor, because
Very true.
you truly need someone that, to teach you or to support you or to help you that has walked the path before you, you know? You're asking for guidance. How can I ask of guidance of someone that has not done that?
Yes. Yes.
So if I want to learn from someone that's done the BRRRR strategy, I want to know that the person that's teaching me has done that. If you want to learn development and building houses, you want to learn from someone that has done development and houses, not just someone that thinks, building is really good, so
Yes.
so that they can tell you, like, if I want to learn, Airbnb, I want to come to you, like, Tahani, you should do this and you should do that. And if I were you, I would avoid this and I would avoid that. And that's how you pick a mentor.
Yes. And speaking of mentors, did you have one or many?
Oh, I have many mentors.
Awesome.
Of course, you
Awesome.
need one for your health, you need one for your mind, you need
Yes.
one for your business. Of course, yes. And I'm a big believer in mastermind.
Huge on that. Yeah. Agreed.
And I've been part of many masterminds, and I've paid tens of thousands of dollars to be part of those masterminds, because it's really who you surround yourself with. So if you want to get into the real estate investing, area, then you must surround yourself with other real estate investors so that they can rub on you, so that you can ask questions, or they can learn from them, or you can say, this is what I'm facing, what do you suggest? So there is all these things. Yeah,
those are the best investments you can make.
of course.
Some people are scared to do it, but you need to in order to level up.
100%.
So as we near the end of the show, I hate to even end
Wow,
this.
it's been already half an
I
hour.
know. I want to keep going, but we're gonna keep bringing you on because
Yeah,
you're
no,
full of it, full of the
yes,
knowledge, and I think
okay.
there's
Thank
too
you.
much to talk about.
Thank
but
you.
I always like to get everyone's opinion on the current market and predictions, because these are some uncertain times for sure. And I'm just really curious to see your take on, let's say, the next year, where you see the market headed.
So it's funny, that's one very, very common question I get asked all the time. You know, oh my gosh, what if, you know, prices, what if, you know, this and that. Here's what I tell from an investor mindset, you know, from someone that wants to get into the market. And even if you're buying a house for yourself, think of it as an investment, because really our houses or our homes are the largest investments that we buy. And that is, think of it this way, that even if the prices, you know, go down and the market crashes, it means that you're going to have way more tenants and people that want to rent, because they're getting out of the market, which means that you can ask even way more for rent. And if you're, as a real estate investor entrepreneur, then you can have more clients to come and want your property, and you can pick and choose, right?
Yeah.
And I don't see the market crashing a whole, like it will soften, and we will see like a bit more maybe supply on the market.
Yep.
But I just see just a bit soft landing.
Yes.
And then as soon as they open immigration,
Yes.
there's gonna be more people coming into Toronto, more people that want to live here, and then more wealthy people are coming to Canada.
Yeah.
And that's where it's gonna again, the cycle is gonna pick up and be great again. Real estate, everyone listening, please, I've been in this business for 27 years, and every time I hear people, they say, oh, there's gonna be a crash, you know, this and that, and be careful. And all I can tell you is that real estate have always gone up. It goes down a little bit, but then it goes up again. This is how the cycle keeps going, you know.
Yep.
It never goes down this way and then stays down, but it just keeps going like this, but it's on a high rise.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody can see the way that I'm moving my hands. Or, yeah.
You guys better watch that.
I mean, almost like Italians, you know, speaking with my hands.
And guys, stop listening to the guy at your gas station and your bakery about the market. Listen to Tahani, okay?
Thank you, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
It sucks to even end this because I feel like we're just getting into it. But tell everybody where they can find you and get some more information if they want to reach out, especially if they're looking to invest in Kitchener-Waterloo area.
Yes, if they want to invest or if they need coaching, you know, because I have all types of coaching, mastermind and everything else. Just kind of go on and check out tahani.ca, tahani.ca, and you'll find all kinds of things. And then, you know, I've also done a TEDx talk, and anything and everything to do with the real estate. And we haven't talked about FIRE, but maybe another time.
I was just gonna, if you want to briefly get into that, and if you want to talk about your the conference you want to host next year.
Yeah, it's called the FIRE Conference or the FIRE Movement. And FIRE is an acronym that stands for Females in Real Estate, and that is empowering women financially. And nothing against men. I love, you know, my son. I love my brothers. It's the men in my life that actually supported me and raised me up. But it just because there is a huge lack in terms of teachers that understands women specifically and teaching them about financial independence. And I wanted to show them that no matter where they're at, that they can still reach financial freedom. And for me, financial freedom means it's not how many millions that you have, but it's when you're at a point where, you know, you don't have to worry about money. So the FIRE conference, we still haven't set a date yet, but it will be in 2022 because I want it to be live again, and we're all want, you know,
everyone could just be on fire.
Exactly, everybody's on fire, and it will be in Toronto. And if you want to find out more information, again, just go to tahani.ca, and then there's more information about the Females in Real Estate movement.
Amazing. And we're going to drop all your information and links in our podcast. We're going to launch on all platforms. So again, thank you so much. It's been an amazing conversation.
Thank you.
And thanks guys for tuning in. Like, subscribe, share, and we will see you next week.